गुड इवनिंग, क्या हाल है? चलो इधर आओ। तो यहाँ पे बैठा के सिखा देता हूँ ना। क्यों? कितना तक किया हम लोग ने?
15 दिन की छुट्टी के लिए।
15 दिन छुट्टी पे चले गए। कौन सा टॉपिक किया हम लोग ने? स्टडी ऑफ पीरियोडिक टेबल स्टार्ट किया है क्या?
नहीं।
नथिंग एल्स विल डन। एटॉमिक स्ट्रक्चर एंड केमिकल बॉन्डिंग।
नहीं, हमने सिर्फ वाटर का चैप्टर करेंगे।
ओके, वाटर का चैप्टर, गुड। आज हम लोग क्या करेंगे? एटॉमिक स्ट्रक्चर एंड केमिकल बॉन्डिंग करेंगे। क्यों? यहाँ पे when is your unit test?
I don't know. Okay, unit test.
Okay.
So water is
Okay. Now, what is an atomic structure and chemical bonding? Right? Atomic structure and chemical bonding. पहले तुमको पता नहीं, थोड़ा शॉर्ट. Okay. ठीक है? Now, what is this atomic structure and chemical bonding? Now, you know very well, every matter is made up of what? Particles. ठीक है? When you actually what take a matter and you start breaking it, पहले मैं थोड़ा सा brief कर देता हूँ the board. It starts breaking into what? Smaller particles. They further break down into smaller. Again, they break down into much smaller particles, and after some time they vanish. But the smallest ultimate particle of matter is called as what? Or are called as atoms. Okay? Now, atom consists of three fundamental particles: protons, electrons, and neutrons. Protons are positively charged, electrons are negatively, or neutrons are neutral. Protons were actually discovered by anode ray experiment. ये हम लोग देखेंगे. Electrons are discovered by cathode ray experiment. और न्यूट्रॉन्स were discovered by bombardment process. ठीक है ना? अब इन लोगों का सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट चीज क्या था कि we have to actually what tell them how these particles are present. So this was given by various models of an atom by various scientists. One was Thomson's model. Thomson ने क्या बोला कि atom is like for example a concrete kind of sphere which is consisting of what? Positively charged part throughout, and they are embedded with what? Negatively charged particles. ठीक है ना? The negatively charged particles are like electrons, and the positively charged particles are present throughout. Just like watermelon. Watermelon में जो seeds है वो negative है, और जो वो fruity part है वो positive है. But that time one gentleman called or scientist called Rutherford was carrying out an experiment, which is called as what? Scattering of alpha particle experiment. Scattering of alpha particles. Now you will say that what is alpha particle? Along with radioactive. Now Henry Becquerel was actually doing some experiment with the uranium salt, and he found that some invisible rays are given out by this particular uranium salt, and there are three invisible rays: alpha, beta, and gamma. Alpha is a positively charged particles, beta is a negatively charged particles, and gamma are actually what? Radiation. Okay? So 2 unit positive charge, mass of 4 units, beta particles, mass of what? Negligible, but charge of -1, and they are chargeless and massless. Gamma, the radiation. Okay? Similar to X-rays. Okay. Scattering of alpha particle experiment क्या किया इन्होंने? इन्होंने एक पहले मेटल प्लेट लिया, which was made up of gold. इसके सामने, okay, इसके सामने he kept, for example, a radium, a radioactive substance, radium, ठीक है, which was giving out invisible rays, alpha. इसके सामने इन्होंने क्या किया? एक स्लिट रखा, ठीक है. और ये अल्फा रेस को अलाउ किया पास करने के लिए. And when the rays were passing through, ठीक है, अल्फा रेस, most of the alpha, इसके पीछे एक सर्कुलर स्क्रीन रखा, ठीक है. सर्कुलर स्क्रीन जो है उसमें जिंक सल्फाइड पेंट अप्लाई किया, ठीक है. Most of the alpha rays were moving straight without any deflection and were producing flashes of light in this area. Some alpha particles got deflected through a smaller angle, and 1 out of 10,000, एक पार्टिकल आउट ऑफ 10,000 ऐसा गया, स्ट्राइक किया और नीचे लेके वापस आ गया. So he came to a conclusion that if this is an atom, okay, if this is an atom, and before that John Dalton mentioned that atom is smallest structureless hollow particle not containing anything, okay, which is hollow completely and which is indivisible, ठीक है ना, and cannot be indivisible as well as invisible. And now what was happening is these particles, most of the alpha particles were moving straight. Why? Because the atom is largely hollow. Atom largely hollow है, इसलिए most of the alpha particles are passing straight. But a few alpha particles are moving in this manner and then straight going this. Why? That means there must be some positively charged body which was actually what repelling these positively charged alpha particles. Yes or no? क्योंकि ये भी पॉजिटिव है तो पॉजिटिव पॉजिटिव क्या करेंगे रिपेल करेंगे. अब एक अल्फा पार्टिकल क्या हुआ was actually what moving was must have had a head-on collision or this. Due to that, this alpha particle, okay, indicated that this particular particle or the body must be having a very high density. What is the meaning of density? When mass is very high and they are occupying a very small volume. And this particular place is called as what? Nucleus. In which he said that protons, that time neutron were not discovered, but later on, protons and neutrons will be present over here. And the electrons are going to revolve with a very high speed. With a very high speed, they are going to revolve around the nucleus. And this particular electrons and protons will be equal in number. This is one model of an atom. But then, whenever any charged body like electron is revolving around another charged body, what happens? Due to every time when it takes turn, it gives energy. And finally what? Okay? It will drop into the nucleus. Within 10 raised to minus 8 seconds, atom will collapse. The atom collapses, the structure of atom is going to be at stake. But this is not happening. 10 raised to minus 8 seconds have passed. Is this ball falling down? No. Is my finger becoming smaller and smaller? No. That means atom is stable. Okay, natural atom stable case है. ये तो आपका खाली ये expectation. 10 raised to minus 8 seconds में atom will collapse. But ये तो नहीं हो रहा है. ठीक है ना? There is a meaning of it. So what is important over here? To overcome this, another scientist came forward, who was called as Bose. He was working with Rutherford. Okay? And what he said, atom is actually what consisting of nucleus in the center, just like my Mahaguru has mentioned. And the electrons are going to revolve around this particular what? Nucleus. Various shells. And they will be, for example, present in these orbits only, and without, any gain of energy or loss of energy, they cannot go down, they cannot move up, or they cannot go down. They will remain over there, and they will revolve in these orbits, and these orbits or these circular paths are called orbits, and they are designated as K, L, M, N, or 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, starting from the nucleus. He said the first shell can accommodate 2 electrons. Second shell will accommodate 8 maximum. Third shell 18. Fourth shell 32. And that means in general 2n square electrons, where n stands for shell number. Here you look at model. Atom stable. Just like a planetary model of an atom. Where nucleus is in the center like sun, and the orbit, these orbits are nothing but what? The planets are revolving in this various orbits. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, etc. Right? That's a so this way the structure of atom was built. ठीक है, एक बार रीड करते हैं और फिर हम लोग आगे बढ़ते हैं. चलो स्टार्ट करो.
Introduction. An atom is the smallest particle of the element, having all the properties of the element from which it is obtained. The first scientific theory about structure of matter was given by John Dalton. One of the first indications that atoms consist of subatomic particles, that is, they are made up of charged particles, has been put forward by the studies of static electricity.
Yes.
J.J. Thomson showed the existence of these charged particles and thus discovered electrons, negatively charged particles. E. Goldstein discovered protons, positively charged particles in an atom. James Chadwick discovered neutrons. The electrons, protons, and neutrons were called the fundamental parts of an atom and
Particles of an atom.
fundamental particles of an atom and the building blocks of all atoms of an element.
Yeah.
The main postulates of Dalton's atomic theory. Matter is made up of very small, indivisible particles called atoms. Matter can neither be created nor be destroyed. All atoms of an element are similar to each other in every aspect, but they differ from the atoms of other elements.
Yes.
Atoms of one element combine with atom of another element in simple
ratio. With spelling mistake है ratio नहीं ration नहीं ratio है to form molecules of compounds. Then
atoms are the smallest units of matter.
ये समझ में आया? Matter is made up of very small indivisible particles called atoms. Matter can neither be created nor be destroyed. All atoms of the element are similar to each other in every aspect, but they differ from the atoms of the other element. ठीक है ना? जैसे कार्बन दो different atoms है, but element same है, तो उन लोगों का mass और for example properties will be same. But carbon and hydrogen है, different properties. Okay, atoms are the smallest units of matter that can take part in the chemical reaction.
However, further studies on the atom have shown that Dalton's postulates are
incorrect
except for one fact that atom can take part in a chemical reaction.
Yes, we get some right. So next one, definition of an element.
Definition of an element. Element is a pure substance that can neither be decomposed into nor formed into simple substances by ordinary physical or chemical methods. Example, carbon is an element because it cannot be split up into two or more simpler substances by methods of heating, breaking, or passing electricity.
Yes.
Definition of an atom. An atom is the smallest particle of an element that exhibits all the properties of that element. It may or may not exist independently, but takes part in every chemical reaction. For example, take a small piece of zinc and grind it into pieces. On grinding them further, they break up into very fine particles which still show the properties of zinc. But there comes a stage that particles cannot be further subdivided into particles exhibiting properties of zinc. These indivisible particles are the atoms of zinc, or an atom is the smallest possible unit of an element.
Yeah. Yes, electrons cover. So protons connected. Electrons electricity neutral. ये Thomson का मॉडल है मॉडल एनोड ये समझ में आया ना एनोड देखो एनोड मतलब प्रोटॉन्स ये तुमको बता देंगे क्योंकि ये सब एक्सपेरिमेंट है ये तुमको लैब में टीचर जाके बताएगा ये देखो ई कोड स्ट्रीम का हाइड्रोजन गैस cathode negative. Electron knocked. ये लोग ने इस बार क्या किया है इसमें कॉर्पोरेशन इसमें कैथोड 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 से आ रहा है इलेक्ट्रॉन और नॉक करते गैस को गैस पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव में कन्वर्ट हो जाता है ये जो नेगेटिव की तरफ लेकिन इसका प्रॉपर्टीज उन्होंने आइडेंटिफाई किया कि इलेक्ट्रॉन से प्रोटॉन होता प्रेजेंट ठीक है चलो पढ़ो कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट ऑफ है ना इंटरेस्टिंग ये दोनों बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग वीडियो है पढ़िए
Constituents of an atom. Discovery of electron. William Crookes noted that all gases are poor conductors of electricity, but when high voltages pass through the gases enclosed in tubes at a very low pressure, the gases become good conductors of electricity and begin to flow in the form of rays. As these rays originate from the negative plate, that is cathode, they are called cathode
they
rays.
originate from the negative plate that's why it is called as cathode rays ठीक है ना
These are called cathode rays. These rays travel from the negative plate to the positive plate, that is anode. They are called cathode rays.
cathode rays and discovery of electrons पढ़ो
Cathode rays and discovery of electrons. J.J. Thomson studied the characteristics and constituents of cathode rays. They always travel from cathode to anode in straight lines. They cause a greenish yellow fluorescence on a soda glass screen placed in the tube. They are influenced by an electric field, that is, they move towards
a positive field
and more outwardly from the negative field. Thus, it is proved that they carry a negative charge. These rays exert mechanical pressure and they transfer sufficient kinetic energy to heat up the metal object on which they hum. These cathode rays produce X-rays when they fall on hard metallic targets like tungsten. They penetrate matter. They ionize the gas through which
that means they convert the gases into ions. That's why that is called ionized gases.
The nature of the gas taken and that of the metal forming a cathode ray
does not influence
the ratio of the charge
to mass.
Mass
Yes.
of the particles present in the cathode ray.
Properties of electrons.
All electrons are the same, having identical masses, irrespective of the sources from which they are obtained. After the experiment, Thomson arrived at the following conclusions. Cathode rays consist of negatively charged particles called electrons. Electron means atom of negative electricity. The mass of an electron is 1 by 1837 of the mass of hydrogen atom. These negative parts form an integral part of the atoms. It is a subatomic particle having a unit negative charge with negligible mass. It is represented by E or E minus. All atoms are electrically neutral, that is, they contain the same number of protons, plusly charged,
Doubly charged,
positively charged particles along with an equal number of negatively charged particles called electrons. Discovery of protons. When Goldstein took a perforated cathode in a discharge tube, he noticed that there were rays traveling in the opposite direction of cathode rays. These rays travel through canals or holes present in the cathode tube, hence he called them canal rays. They were later called anode or positive rays. All properties of anode rays. All positive rays travel in a straight line. They contain minute particles, hence they produce mechanical effects. They are made up of positively charged particles. As these positive rays are deflected by electric and magnetic fields in the direction opposite to cathode rays, so one concludes that they contain positive charged particles called protons. These particles produce fluorescence on a zinc sulfide screen. It is a particle found in positive rays produced with H2 gas. The value of the positive charge on this particle is equal to the negative charge on the electron. That is 1 plus 1 against negative 1 minus 1. This particle is called proton. As hydrogen does not have any neutron, it is represented by 1 H. Its mass is the same as that of a hydrogen atom. Properties of protons. A proton possesses a unit positive charge. Its mass is the same as that of a hydrogen atom. The proton resides in the central part of the atom, that is the nucleus. J.J. Thomson's model of an atom. J.J. Thomson, after the discovery of protons and electrons, proposed the plum pudding model of an atom. According to this model, an atom is a sphere of positive charge and electrons are embedded into it, like plums in a pudding. The total positive charge is equal to the total negative charge, so the atom is electrically neutral. The mass of the atom is uniformly distributed. Discovery of nucleus. Lord Rutherford bombarded a very thin gold foil with a stream of alpha particles. The gold foils was selected by him because he wanted as thin a layer as possible, and gold has a very high malleability. Alpha particles are doubly charged helium H2 E2 plus ions. It contains two protons and two neutrons. He observed that most of the particles went straight through the foil. Some alpha particles were slightly deflected from the stream. Then few alpha particles were either deflected by large angles or completely bounced back. The following conclusions were made. Most of the space inside the atom is empty because most of the atom particles pass through the gold foil without getting deflected. Very few particles were deflected from their path, indicating that the positive charge of the atom occupies very little space. A very small fraction of alpha particles was deflected by 180 degrees charge and bounced the atom was concentrated within a certain volume within the atom.
Discovery of neutron theory. पहला video है. ये पॉजिटिवली चार्ज प्रोटॉन्स है, ये नेगेटिव. पर अभी जब इसका मास लेना शुरू किया इन्होंने, तो मालूम पड़ा कि देखो 1 2 3 4 5 एक पॉजिटिव चार्ज का एक यूनिट मास है, तो 5 का कितना हो जाएगा? 5. बट इन लोगों को 10 मिल रहा है. अब 10 मिल रहा है तो देवर टाइम अगेन टाइम एंड अगेन देवर I mean, what is it, getting a kind of idea or thinking that they were wrong, wrongly weighing. Time and again they will make this particular atom. Okay? But they were always getting double. Immediately, Ernest Rutherford, after 32 years, yes. Four times. This is new problem. Beryllium sheet was bombarded by alpha particles. The alpha particle from source. यहाँ source है उधर से पास है. अभी देखो क्या होगा. Particle दिखता है ना. ये अपना रेडियोएक्टिव एनालिटिकल तो ये रेडियोएक्टिव है. वो पूरा पूरा रेडिएशन एब्सॉर्ब करता है. ये रेडियो शीट है ना. अल्फा पार्टिकल को कार्बन ये ये और they were not reflective negative not positive. Neutral. वो थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट था. मुझे तो ये ठीक है. पर मैं ये बोम्बार्डमेंट टेक्निक से कैथोड रे इससे नहीं हो सकता. क्यों? या चार्ज पार्टिकल्स या अनचार्ज. ठीक है चलो पढ़िए.
Rutherford's atomic model. According to this model, the atom contains a large empty space. Hence, most of the alpha particles pass through the foil without deviating from their path. The mass of the atom is concentrated in the center of the atom. This part is called the nucleus, in which the entire mass of the atom is concentrated. The fact that the positive charged alpha particles were deflected when they hit the nucleus proves that protons are present in the nucleus. The size of the nucleus is very small as when compared to the size of the atom. This is why a particle passes through the gold. This is why alpha particles pass through the gold. When an atom is electrically neutral, as the total amount of positive charge is equal to the total amount of negative charge, that is the total number of protons is equal to the total number of electrons.
Yes.
Electrons revolve around the nucleus in a circular path called orbits.
Very
The
good.
force of attraction between the negatively charged electrons and the positively charged nucleus is counterbalanced by the centrifugal force acquired by the revolving electrons. Rutherford compared his atomic model to the structure of the solar system. Just as the sun at the center has maximum mass and the planets revolve around it, so also the nucleus is at the center having maximum mass
Hmm.
and the electrons revolve around in discrete orbits or shells.
Hmm.
Drawbacks of Rutherford atomic model. By comparing the atomic structure to the solar system, Rutherford made a big mistake because as the planets revolve around the sun, they radiate energy according to the law of mechanics and electrodynamics. So, an electron too should radiate energy while moving around the nucleus. Thus, it would lose its energy and generally will be pulled toward the nucleus, thus colliding with it. This will finally result in the collapse of the atom. If this happens, the atom will be highly unstable and matter would never exist. But we know that the atom is stable. But Rutherford's model could not explain this stability.
Hmm.
Bohr's atomic model.
Hmm.
Bohr explained the cause of stability of the atom. The electrons move about in certain fixed shells or orbits called
Energy levels.
Each energy level is associated with a fixed amount of energy.
Hmm.
While revolving around the nucleus, the electrons do not lose or gain any
Any energy.
If an electron gains energy, it jumps to the next energy level or shell and vice versa.
Hmm.
These shells are called K, L, M, N, and so on, or I 1, 2, 3, 4, etc.
Hmm.
The first shell K is near the nucleus and it has the minimum amount of energy, and the electrons present in it are named after the shell in which they are present.
Hmm.
The discovery of neutrons. Atoms contain electrons and protons, and the mass of an electron is negligible. Now, if an atom of helium, which contains two protons, has AMU is equal to 2, we conclude that the nucleus contains only two protons. However, the mass of helium atom was found to be 4 AMU. It was therefore proved that atoms contain another particle called neutron.
एक मिनट इधर mistake है. Which contains two protons and has a mass of 2 AMU. ऐसा होना चाहिए ना? Change करो. है कि नहीं? ये लो relax. ये लो. Helium which contains two protons has a mass of 2 AMU. इधर हाँ इधर नहीं इधर two protons okay
The AMU is 2.
अरे AMU नहीं it has a mass of 2 AMU होना चाहिए ना जैसा नीचे 4 AMU लिखा है ना वैसा 2 AMU AMU बाद में आना चाहिए ना 4 के बाद में अरे 2 के बाद में has a mass of 2 AMU और वो AMU कट करो हाँ yes अब मीनिंग बन रहा है ना चलो नेक्स्ट पढ़िए
We conclude that the nucleus contains only two protons. However, the mass of helium atom was found to be 4 AMU.
Yes.
It was therefore proved that atoms contain another particle called neutron, whose charge is neutral, but whose mass is approximately equal to that of a proton. Hence, we conclude that helium has two neutrons. Chadwick in 1932 discovered these neutrons by bombarding the nucleus of beryllium with alpha particles. That is helium nuclei. 9, 4 beryllium plus 4 to helium gives 12, 6 carbon plus 1, 0 neutron. Properties of neutrons. This particle cannot be deflected either by any magnetic or electric field, proving that it is neutral. Its mass is equal to 1.676 into 10 raised to negative 24 grams. Neutron are equal
Neutral
neutral particles situated in the nucleus and their mass is approximately 1. Dalton's atomic theory.
Comparison of Dalton's atomic theory and modern atomic theory. तुम डाल्टन का पढ़ो मैं मॉडर्न का पढ़ो.
Atoms are indivisible particles.
Modern atomic theory. Atoms are divisible into subatomic particles like protons, electrons, and neutrons.
Atoms can neither be created nor be destroyed.
Atoms can be created and destroyed by the nuclear fusion and fission reaction.
The atoms of an element are alike in all respects, but they differ from the atoms of other elements.
Atoms of an element may not be alike in all respects, as is seen in the case of isotopes. What are isotopes? Same atom of the same element having different atomic number but same mass. Same mass number, atomic number but different mass numbers. वो भी आगे आएगा. Then
atoms follow the laws of chemical combination to form compounds.
Yes, in the formation of compounds, the laws of chemical combination are not always followed.
Atom is structure. An atom consists of two structural parts: nucleus and orbit. Nucleus. The nucleus consists of protons and neutrons called nucleons. And these are found in the central part of the atom. Orbits. It is the imaginary path where electrons revolve around the nucleus of the atom. Properties of subatomic particles.
Electron symbol is E minus 1 0 or simply E minus.
Charge.
Symbol for proton. Charge minus 1. Mass is 1 by 1840. In terms of grams, it is 9.1 into 10 raised to minus 28 grams. Protons.
1 H or P plus or H plus. Charge electronic unit 1 plus. Mass AMU 1. Mass grams 1.6 into 10 raised to negative
minus 24 grams.
Neutron 0 N or N. Charge electric unit 0. Mass AMU 1. Mass grams 1.6 into 10 raised to negative 24 grams.
Yes. Atomic number
Z. Every atom has its own atomic number, which is its distinguishing property. This number is the number of protons present in the nucleus. As an atom is
electrically neutral,
it has also the same number of electrons in it. Atomic number is denoted by Z. The atomic number of an element is
so what is atomic number? It is the number of protons present in the nucleus or number of electrons in an atom.
Positive charge in the nucleus of the atom. Mass number A.
The mass number is denoted by A.
Mass number is the total number of protons and neutrons present in the nucleus of the atom. It is denoted by A. This mass number is a whole number and is calculated in atomic mass units.
Yes, distribution of electrons in orbits. More very scheme. What is distribution?
It is the arrangement of electrons in the respective orbits around the atoms. This arrangement was suggested by Bohr and Pauli.
This is called electronic configuration. Then
the following are the rules for writing the number of electrons in different energy levels or shells. Number of the shell, which is also the energy level. Maximum number of electrons in a particular shell is given by the formula
2n square.
Where n is the number of the shell, which is also the energy
level of the shell.
However, there always has to be 8 electrons in the valency shell to satisfy the octet rule. According to 2n square rule, K shell is equal to
2 into 1 square is equal to 2.
L shell is equal to 2 into 2 square, which is equal to 8. M shell is equal to 2 into 3 square, which is equal to 18. And N shell is equal to 2 into 4 square, which is equal to 16. Electrons do not enter a new shell unless the previous shell is filled according to the 2n square rule. An element is symbolically present by AZX, where X is a symbol of the element, A is the mass of the number, Z is the atomic number. So, in the following example, 3517X.
X 1735. 35 is the mass number, 17 is the atomic number. So then
Number of X is an element having 17 having atomic number Z which is equal to P which is equal to E, and atomic mass A is equal to N plus P.
Plus P, neutrons plus protons. So what is the number of neutrons? कितना हो जाएगा? Mass number minus atomic number, which is 35 minus 17,
which is equal to
18.
The electronic structure of magnesium Mg. Magnesium has the atomic number 12, that is, it has 12 protons and 12 electrons. Its atomic mass is 24, that is, it has 12 protons and 12 neutrons in its nucleus. Its electronic configuration is as under K is equal to 2.
K shell में 2 electron,
L
shell में 8 and M shell में 2.
In lighter elements, when the inner shells get filled, only then the electrons enter the new shell. However, in heavier elements, even the third shell can accommodate up to 18 electrons, yet the fourth shell starts filling up only after it has 8 electrons. The valency shell can accommodate only 8 electrons. Hence, Ca is equal to 2, 8, 8, 2, and K is 2,
potassium 2, 8, 8, 1. क्या लिखा है? Lighter elements when the inner shells get filled up, only when the electrons enter the new shell. However, in heavier elements, even though the third shell can accommodate 18 electrons, yet the fourth shell starts with filling only after it has 8 electrons. The valency shell can accommodate only 8 electrons maximum. समझ में आया ना? उसके बाद जो एक्स्ट्रा है वो नेक्स्ट शेल में जाना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि वो तो आउटर मोस्ट शेल हो गया है, इसीलिए उन्हें को ऐड करने के बाद वन डालना पड़ेगा. ठीक है कि नहीं? Main features of the structure of atom. बस last part पढ़ लो.
All atoms except hydrogen are made up of 3 subatomic particles: electrons, protons, and neutrons. The nucleus is centered into the atom. It contains protons and neutrons. Hence, it is positively charged. The electrons rotate around the nucleus and have negligible mass. The number of protons and electrons are the same. Hence, the atom is electrically neutral. The electrons revolve rapidly around the nucleus in fixed orbits, which are circular paths or energy levels. Atoms of different elements have different atomic numbers and atomic masses. Hence, they have different number of electrons, protons, and neutrons.
Yes.
Atomic number Z is equal to number
of protons, or which is equal to number of electrons. वही चीज repeat की है. Mass number is what? Number of protons plus number of neutrons. तो इधर तक हम लोग stop कर दें. ठीक है? ये आगे का पार्ट तुम्हारे को next time करें. ठीक है ना? अभी 2-3 मिनट है, रिलैक्स करो और उसके बाद हम लोग चलते हैं. ठीक है कि नहीं? ठीक है? गया टाइम हो गया
हाँ।
चलो स्टॉप हो गया
एनकेटी सर आपने ये बोला है चलो सर बाय